So we're going to take on the problem with two, what we hope are linear functions. We're given two tables of these bands' touring schedules. No Direction has the weeks and the miles traveled. We know the weeks is the x-axis, and the miles traveled will be the y, because the miles traveled depends on the number of weeks they've been touring. On Mindless Songwriting's table, we'll do the same thing, x and y. The first question says, which band had logged more miles before, I'm going to underline that, that's important, they began their comparisons. So, and then by how many miles? So, which band had logged more miles before they began their comparisons? Well, they began their comparisons, and at 2 weeks they have 1,000. So, the answer to this question is going to be back here at 0, before they began comparing. So I need to figure out what happened here. Well, the only way I'm going to be able to backpedal this way to figure out what's here is if I figure out what's the rate of change of this. How much is this changing? Because then I can go backwards and work to find what it was at 0. And rate of change we know is slope, so we really need to find the slope. And I'm going to put up on the top here the equation for linear, for lines, and we are looking for m, the slope. So the slope is the rise over the run. And the rise is the change in y over the change in x. So I can take any 2 points, and I'm just going to pick the easiest ones I can find. This one and this one. These numbers get bigger, I don't need to mess with that. So this will be my second point, and this will be my first point. Well, the second y is 19, and the first y is 1,000. The second x is 5, and the first x is 2. So now I have 1,900 minus 1,000 is 900, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So it appears that the rate of change, or the slope, is 300. So I now know that in my equation y equals mx plus b, I can put 300 in for No Direction's rate of change. So what I could do are two things. One, I could take that rate of change and start going, well, I've got to go back 2 spaces, and I know that it's 300 for every one. So that means if I'm going back 2, I can subtract 600. So 1,000 minus 600 is 400. Or I'm going to prove that also by using this equation and taking an x and a y that I'm given. Let's use 2 and 1,000 here. So I know that 1,000 equals 300 times 2 plus b. And now I know that 1,000 equals 600 plus b. Subtract 600 from both sides, and I will get b equals 400, which is what I thought it was here. So No Direction has 400 miles before they began their comparison. So we'll make that note here. No Direction, 400 miles at 0. And when we graph that, that is one of the first points we want to graph. 0, 400. We'll do the exact same thing for mindless songwriting. In fact, I should check this with another point, another pair of points. But for this video, we won't do that. We'll just move on to the next one to be sure. Same thing. Pick the 2 easiest ones you can find. In fact, I could pick these 2, but I like that a lot. 8, 3,000, 12, 4,000. That's going to make subtraction really simple. So let's use that. So over here now we have the slope is rise over run. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I know that I have now 4,000 minus 3,000 over 12 minus 8. I have 1,000 over 4, so I have 250 over 1, so their rate of change is 250. And I can either multiply 3 times 250, which I'll get 750, and subtract it from here, and I should get 1,000, or do the exact same thing I did up here, and take y equals 250 x plus b and substitute one of these points in and see if I get the same thing. So let's take this one. 1750 equals 250 times 3 plus b. Feel free to zoom in, Kiara, if you can't see that. 250 times 3 is 750 plus b equals 1750. Subtract 750 from both sides, and sure enough, 1,000 equals b. So I know that mindless songwriting had 1,000 miles at 0, and when I plot their line on the back, that's the first line I'm going to put. Now that I know M, here's M, and here's B, I can solve for this piece right here very simply, saying if y equals mx plus b, I know that y, whatever this is y, equals 300 times 24 plus 400, b, right here. And now I can do the math here, and I will get 7,200 plus 400, and y equals 7,600. That's the answer here. So even though that felt like a lot, first thing, find the slope. We did that. Second thing, find b, the y-intercept. There's two ways to do that. I recommend just substituting using the equations. And then the third thing is then resubstitute with the missing piece of the table into that equation, and you'll get your